If you've got a reactive dog, you already know the feeling. The lunging, barking, straining on the lead, and the eyes of judgmental strangers turning towards you. You can see it in their face, or they may even yell at you, aggressive. The walk that should be the best part of your day becomes the thing that you dread the most. I'm a dog behaviourist. I specialise in reactive dogs, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, backed by science and confirmed by every reactive dog I've ever worked with, including one of my own, your reactive dog is not aggressive. Your dog is terrified and desperately trying to tell you so. And here's what's actually happening and why it changes everything. Number 1, reactivity is fear. It's not aggression. When your dog sees the trigger, another dog, a stranger, a cyclist, what happens in their body isn't a choice. It's not dominance or aggression or an attempt to take control. It's a flood of chemicals to the amygdala, the brain's threat detector. Stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol hit the bloodstream within nanoseconds. The rational thinking brain, the part that can learn, respond to you, take a treat, make eye contact, it goes offline. What's left is a nervous system doing the thing it was built to do when it believes there's danger. The dog believes it must fight, run, or make the threat go away by being as loud and as frightening as possible. Dr. Patricia McConnell, one of the world's leading animal behaviourists, describes a reactive episode as a canine equivalent of a panic attack. It's not a tantrum or a power play, it's a full-blown panic attack. Your dog has no control over it. You can't reason them out of it while it's happening. Your dog's in the grip of something so overwhelming that from the inside it believes there's nothing else to do. And here's the part that keeps so many reactive dogs stuck. It works. The trigger moves away. Your dog's nervous system gets a clear message. That behaviour made the threat go away. Right. Do it again. Do it bigger next time. Your dog has found a strategy that reduces their fear, and they're using it because nobody's shown them there's another way. I experienced this with my own dog, Poppy, a large black Weimarraner cross who could clear a path from hundreds of yards away with a single lunge and a bark. What I eventually learned to see was a dog who was absolutely terrified, who'd found almost by accident the one thing that gave her temporarily relief. My poor dog wasn't dangerous, she was desperate. And if you've been told your dog is aggressive, as many dog trainers will label, you probably followed a training protocol that's making the behaviour worse. Because the most natural response to a reactive episode, the one almost every owner tries, is the one that's quietly making everything worse. And once you understand why, you will never respond the same way again. Point number 2. Punishment makes the behaviour worse. Every time. When your dog lunges and barks, your instinct may be to correct. A sharp jerk on the lead, a firm no, or a raised voice. You try to do something, anything, to interrupt the behaviour and communicate that it's not acceptable. And of course, your response may feel logical. You may feel embarrassed or humiliated by your dog's behaviour. I certainly did. But here's what's actually happening in your dog's nervous system. They're already in a fear response. Their stress system is flooded with negative chemicals. They're running on the threat detection part of their brain, not the rational part. And in that moment, at the precise peak of their fear, you add something aversive like pain, a sharp sound, and your own emotional escalation. What your dog can't do in that moment is make the connection you intend. They can't think, I was reacting to that dog, and the correction means I shouldn't do that. The thinking brain is offline. The only connection their nervous system can make is, I was near that scary thing, and something else frightening happened. So the fear deepens, the association between trigger and threat gets stronger, and the reactivity gets worse. Research published in the journal Applied Animal Behaviour Science found consistent results across multiple studies. Punishment suppresses the behaviour in the short term. The underlying anxiety that drives it doesn't decrease, it simply goes underground. I know this not just from the science, but from my dog Poppy. Before I qualified, before I understood what was really happening, I tried correction. Sadly, I watched her get worse because I was accidentally confirming that the world was as dangerous as she believed it to be. The moment I stopped correcting and started understanding, everything changed. So, if correction makes it worse, what does actually help? There's one approach that changes everything for reactive dogs and changed my dog forever. At the heart of it is something much simpler than most owners expect. Point number 3, what actually helps the behaviour? Helping a reactive dog isn't about stopping the behaviour, it's about changing the emotion that's driving it. This approach is called counter-conditioning, and the principle is straightforward. Your dog's reactivity follows a sequence. The trigger appears, fear kicks off, reactive behaviour follows. It's automatic, which means changing the behaviour means changing the emotion underneath it. Counter-conditioning works by replacing the negative association with a positive one. Through careful, repeated exposure, always at a distance where your dog can see the trigger, but is calm and can still function, still take a treat, look at you, the trigger gets paired with something your dog genuinely loves. A high-value treat, a game, a signal from you that means something good is coming. Over time, the trigger stops predicting threat and it starts predicting good things. And a dog who no longer experiences the trigger as a threat has no need for the behaviour that threat was driving. I've turned reactive behaviour around super fast, and as long as the owner understands the protocol and continues with it, the behaviour eventually fully or partially distinguishes. And in 14 years, I've yet to meet a dog that is as violently reactive as Poppy was. Most dogs respond quite quickly when they're no longer forced to be near the trigger, and then they rapidly shorten the trigger distance when the owner counter conditions with something the dog loves. So the word you need to know and understand is threshold. It's the distance at which your dog can see the trigger and still be relaxed. Below threshold, the dog can learn. Above threshold, when a full reactive explosion is happening, it's too late. The nervous system is too flooded for your dog to function, and nothing you try will work. Most owners, understandably, try to work as close to the trigger as possible, believing the dog will get used to it. Progress might feel faster, but it's the opposite. This is what we call flooding, and it can significantly make the behaviour worse and, in the worst cases, lead to aggression. Working below the dog's threshold is where the real change happens. With Poppy, her threshold was literally 300 plus yards. So I began by watching her body language closely for any tension. If her ears suddenly raised forward, she stood taller, became longer, and she started staring hard at something in the distance. I moved her away until those physical symptoms changed. I'd often turn around completely, if there wasn't enough room to pass inside of her threshold. With a cheerful voice, I'd turn around and say, "Come on, Poppy, this way." And one day, I will never forget it, I turned away from a man and a dog walking towards us, and Poppy looked up at me, making direct eye contact. And her expression said something I'd been waiting a long time to see. "Thank you, Mum. You finally understand." Her whole body relaxed. That moment gave my dog everything she needed to feel safe. She knew I finally understood. The journey with a reactive dog can be slow. It isn't always linear. You may have setbacks, but try not to take them personally. There will be days that feel like you're back at the beginning. You're not. As long as you stay true to the protocol, as does anyone who handles your dog, the dog's behaviour will turn around. Sadly, I find that most owners give up after a few setbacks and say the protocol doesn't work. Don't let that be you. Don't you owe it to your dog to keep going? It absolutely does work. This is dog psychology at its best, but it takes commitment. And I can tell you that the trust that builds on the other side of their fear, the bond that forms when your dog learns that you are the signal that means safety, is unlike anything else you'll ever experience. It's beautiful. When I see a dog start to change and an owner embracing the understanding, it makes me so happy, because I know I've changed that dog's life forever, and their owners too. To sum up, remember, your reactive dog is not aggressive. They're an animal whose nervous system somehow learned that the world is dangerous. They found a strategy that keeps them feeling safe. A loud, alarming, exhausting and embarrassing strategy that's made your walks hard and your heart heavier than it should be. But underneath every lunge, every bark, every moment that made you want to disappear, there's a dog who's simply afraid, who's desperately trying to tell you one thing: I'm not dangerous. I'm terrified. Please help me. If this has helped you to see your reactive dog differently, please subscribe to Dog Decoded. There's so much more coming, including the full story of the dog who taught me everything that I've just told you. Her name was Poppy, and she changed my world.